Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted property is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I am telling you this: if I can do it, so can you. So let's get started. All right, this is going to be an incredible journey that we're going to go on this podcast. Imagine this. Imagine 36 months ago, 3 years ago, you go from making $30,000 a year to now making $650,000 a year and having a portfolio of $2.5 million and growing, and having an amazing amount of deals in the pipeline. That is the story of this gentleman out of Palm Springs, California, that I'm having a conversation with on the podcast today. It is Omar Lopez. Omar, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm excited. I'm excited to share this because, I mean, you were a landscaper, right? You were a landscaper. You were making 30 grand a year, and at the time you thought that was awesome, right?
Right.
And then what happened? Like, walk us through this, and then we'll get into, where your brain really started to latch on to real estate investing.
Right. Well, I've been working since I was a little boy. Like, since I was 6 years old, my dad used to take me to his gardening route. So I always knew how to work hard. And, graduated high school. I went to college also. I graduated with my horticulture degree, turf grass management.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a...
It's good in Palm Springs.
2 associates. So I thought that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a landscaper, have my landscaping company.
Sure.
And then I kind of went off a path where I wasn't doing much, hanging around with the wrong crowd for a while.
Sure.
And then I was making $30K a year as a tree trimmer. I thought I was killing it, making more than my parents, because my parents were making a little bit less than that.
Sure.
And one day I decided to quit my job, and I bought my own tree trimming equipment, and I went off on my own tree trimming route. And 3 days later, I fell down. Yeah, I fell down.
What kind of tree?
A palm tree.
You fell off of a palm tree.
I fell off of a palm tree. Yeah, I was swinging from this palm tree to a different one. It's a tree climbing method.
Yeah.
And the palm tree broke.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And were you all right?
No. I fell down on a brick wall.
Yeah.
And I cracked the brick wall. I fractured my vertebrae. I tried to walk it off because I had walked it off in the past when I used to fall down from a tree.
Sure.
And I couldn't walk it off. I collapsed, and I told them to call 911, and they rushed me to the hospital.
Oh my gosh. And so you go through that experience. Now what do you do? I mean, how did you get into real estate? Were you always looking at real estate, or was it just you were going to you were going to be an entrepreneur in the field that you went and studied?
Well, I guess I always had that bug, of like achieving something.
Sure.
I always had that hunger, but I never knew I was going to get into real estate. So here I was, semi-crippled. I had a back brace. And so now I had to reinvent myself.
Sure.
And so I started reading books, and I started going down a path of personal development. Mm-hmm. Started helping myself. At first, I knew that I wanted to be rich. That's like what I thought, So I went into YouTube University, and I started like bumping into a bunch of people. They say like read books and all that. And then I ran into real estate, and I was like, what is this? I had heard of maybe real estate agents or stuff like that.
Sure.
But I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
And bumped into Robert Kiyosaki and all that stuff. And so I was like, you know what? I think I could do this. Mm-hmm. I think it's tried, it's tested. It's made more millionaires than anything else. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to invent a gadget.
Right.
There was crypto at the time. But I was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to study, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to do this.
Awesome. And so what was your first step? Because, we have a lot of people listening
Right.
that are very excited about real estate. And so a lot of people have done some deals, but a lot of people haven't. Like, what was kind of your first toe in the water experience, actually going and talking to somebody about real estate?
Yeah, so what I've learned, it's like it's a domino effect. If you're searching for something, you're gonna find it.
Yep.
So
yeah.
I was just searching, and so I would like pick up anything that I could get my hands on. From webinars to training courses. I remember buying a training course. I don't know, it was probably like $500, and they talked about REIAs, you know?
Yeah.
So then at the same time, I'm reading books, I'm listening to podcasts. You know, I came across your podcast at that time, so I started listening to it. And
You mean the podcast you're on right now?
the one that I'm on right now. Yes. And so REIAs.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, what's these REIAs? And I looked it up, and there was a local REIA.
Yeah.
And
Explain to everybody that isn't familiar, what is a REIA?
Real Estate Investors Association.
That's
They're
right.
just basically meetings.
Networks,
yeah. Where you can go and network with other like-minded people
Yep.
that are doing deals, lenders that want to lend their money. Maybe you got a deal that you want to present, or you're looking for a deal. So there was one that was like an hour away.
Okay.
In the Inland Empire, and there was one real local to me. So I went to the one an hour away. I was hungry, so I went, and even people were like, wow, you came from Palm Springs? That's like an hour away. To me, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then I went to the other local one, and that's where I started networking and just kind of like presenting myself, and just started talking to the other mentors and people who were actually doing deals and stuff like that.
Were people receptive? Were people like coming with open arms? I mean, were they cool? Did you have to kind of break down some barriers? Like, what should people expect going into a real estate investing association that never has?
Right. You have all types of people. There's those people that kind of look at you and they probably think like, oh yeah, we see your kind all the time.
Sure.
They get the fire, they get the hunger, but then within a couple meetings, you're not going to come back.
Right.
Right. But then you have a couple other people that they may see you and they think like, you know what, this guy may bring me deals.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, my name is so and so. What are you doing? Hey, we run the meeting and so forth. So you have everybody, but I remember seeing some of the people that were like doing deals and I had nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
I remember I had nothing to talk about. I just had my hands behind my back and just listening. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm going to be in their position one day.
Yep.
I'm going to be in their position. I'm going to have something to talk about, a deal to talk about. And so that's how it all got started. And I just kept going. And I remember I would get up on the stage, because there's like haves and wants where you can present something. I don't even remember if I had anything, but like I just like would put myself in front of the crowd and just, hey, you know what? My name is Omar Lopez. I'm from Palm Springs. I'm coming up. I started doing mobile home deals and all that, and just putting yourself out there because it's all about putting yourself out there. Also,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one, getting loud, right? Getting loud in a group of people that have similar goals as yourself is critical. But two, going there with something of value to give. How can I help these other people that are where I want to be? How am I able to make them more money? That's the key to get into the door of really understanding what's going on here. And not everybody's going to want to share with you or have the time to, or just are kind of greedy with it. But you're going to find plenty of people that you can connect with, that you can build a network with, that you can grow with. And those are the right people to find. But to get that access, you have to bring some value.
Right.
You have to bring value.
Definitely.
And listen, I'm telling everybody out there, people are like, well, I don't know what value I can provide. I'm getting new. I'm trying to learn here. I don't even know the information. This is what you do. This is what you say. I am going to go, and every single day I'm going to door knock and I'm going to make calls, and I'm going to go try to find the ugliest properties in our city. When I find them, will you help me do the deal?
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That is the perfect approach. Will you help me do the deal? Right? Pick out the person that you think has the right energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can sense people's energy when you're in a room and you're like, wait, who's that person? Why is everybody over there? Why is everybody smiling as opposed to that dude over there that's like, kind of grumpy and kind of like a dark cloud? Go to the person that has the energy, has that magnetism, and go say that. Go tell them, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to hustle this thing up. I don't have a huge budget nor any experience, but I have a huge passion for this and I know that I can do it.
Right. 100%.
That's basically what you did.
That's exactly what I did.
You went up and you were just you were fearless, really. I mean, maybe you had a little bit of apprehension, but you went up on the stage and just say, "Hey, I'm coming up." You said that, and in my mind, I was like, "That's the mentality. You're coming up."
Exactly.
Even when you're starting, I can do this.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
That's the mentality. Yeah. I love it. So, What did you do? Did you start making calls? Did you door knock? Did you send out mailers? How did you start getting some lead generation going?
Right. So I started driving for dollars.
Yes.
That was like the first thing I started doing.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you start educating yourself,
Yep.
right? But then after a few months, you realize that all the education is the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You may take another course, a second course, a third course, but it's all the same. So after a while, I was like, you know what? I got to start doing something now, you know? And I couldn't figure it out. Like, man, you know, do I buy a list? Do I drive for dollars? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm figuring it out now. You know, I gotta market to certain properties, right? So you got the vacant list or the foreclosure list, and then the driving for dollars list. You know, everybody talked about it. So I started driving, and so now you start thinking, so how do I contact that list, right?
Yep.
Do I send mailers? Do I text? Do I call? So I started calling.
Yep.
You know, at first I remember just calling before I even started driving for dollars. I just started calling like I had a property radar, and I would just call like a certain list, like,
Sure.
and I was calling like $1 million houses. Like I was doing it all wrong, right?
Right.
But then you know, the more you go, the more you start learning. So then driving for dollars and cold calling was what got me really close the first couple times to my first couple of deals.
Okay.
I didn't get them, but that's how I started, and I just kind of started snowballing after that.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did you get your first deal?
Well, so my first deal was actually a mobile home deal because I got your program at the end of 2018.
Yeah.
But in the meetings, there was a couple guys who were doing mobile home deals.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, you know what? I mean, mobile homes, like, you know, I gotta either do one thing, either houses or mobile homes. You know what? Mobile home sounds a little easier. I can work my way up to houses, right?
Get some quick wins.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I did. I started hanging around with a couple guys that were doing mobile home deals. And a few months later, I bought and sold that mobile home, and that was my first deal.
Yeah.
And then a couple months after that, you know, I started doing more mobile home deals, and then boom, I landed like my first wholesale deal, like later within the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you get that deal?
It was funny because I was actually in a mobile home park driving around looking for mobile home deals, you know, and so I visited every mobile home park in my valley. You know, I know all of them. And when I would see people walking around, I'd pull over and I said, hey, you know what? I buy mobile homes. I buy and fix and sell mobile homes. Do you have a mobile home that you want to sell?
Yeah.
And this gentleman is like, I have one in Tri Palms. And that's where you own the land also. So now we're talking about real estate, you know? And I was like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, let's make a quick distinction here. So with mobile homes, you can buy and sell mobile homes, but it's more like buying and selling a car. You have to go through the DMV or the motor vehicle department, and because oftentimes if they're in a park, they don't own the land. Somebody owns the land. The park owners own the land. You're talking about this is a manufactured property or a mobile home, and they also own the land.
Correct.
Now we're talking about real property. I mean, we're talking about, you know, being able to you know, go through title, go through escrow, go through that whole process, and that's what you found. So there's a distinction there for anybody that's confused.
Definitely a distinction because just to put that out there, I thought that I was a real estate investor when I was doing mobile home deals. And I realized that I was not a real estate investor. I was a mobile home car investor.
Well, it's confusing because people live in these, you know? So you're like, well, people live there. People live in houses. Why are they different? Well, they don't own the land. And that's really where the value's at.
The land, the real estate. Otherwise, you're not a real estate investor.
Yep.
Yeah. So then that's when I thought, you know what? I want to be a real estate investor. That's where the ultimate wealth is, right? That's where the bigger zeros are, you know? So, so this gentleman told me that he was selling this one that had the real estate. And so I told him to tell me more about it. And so I think I went to go visit the property and we put it under contract.
Awesome.
And when we put it under contract, I had a very small network of buyers, but I ended up wholesaling it to this local guy that bought those types of deals, and I made $4,000 on it.
$4,000, and that was it. That was like the okay.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Now we're on to something, right?
Right.
Awesome. How did you find that deal?
Just by word of mouth. I mean, I was driving looking for other mobile home deals.
Yeah.
I bumped into this guy. I asked him if he knew.
And he owned that one.
And he owned that one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Talking to people.
Talk to people.
That's it.
Talking to people. That's what it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So let me ask you this, kind of switching tracks real quick, because I feel like you've got a very strong mindset. Like you have a lot of confidence in your ability to do this. Where did that come from? Why think that you're coming up before you even start? You know what I mean? Why think that you can make a bunch of money? Why you think that you can be an entrepreneur? Where does that come from?
It's just the consistent small steps that you take every single day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's gonna happen overnight. You know, I wake up every day with intention of being a better man, being a better person than yesterday. Yep. You know, seeking the vision. You know, helping out my family. You know, creating that legacy. So, you know, it just comes from, reading, good habits, exercising, everything. It's just all the compound effect.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. And we think, oftentimes we think that legacy comes with huge bank accounts. And obviously that's part of it. But most of the legacy comes from you being the example in your family of what you can do with your time, with your efforts, you know what I mean? Or what you can't, what you shouldn't do. You know what I mean? There's both sides of that. And you're such a great example that all of a sudden now the family has this wonderful thing, this wonderful person to look at and say, wow, look at what Omar did. I can do that too. Definitely. And then all of a sudden, that is the seed that you plant. That's the legacy. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And you see it already with your family, right?
I see it already. I mean, I could see that my dad was proud of me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my mom, because like I mentioned, there was a moment in my life where I wasn't focused, you know? And so I think for my parents to see where I was at before and where I am now, they're proud of me, definitely,
Awesome. And you've got your rentals.
Yeah.
So you've got 12 doors, $2.5 million worth of real estate there. You wholesale, and you have owned mobile home parks.
I co-owned a mobile home park. Yeah, it was an equity share agreement that I did with some of my mentors. Didn't really work out for me. Sure. So I just had to branch out.
And last year, $650,000 in income.
Yeah, surprisingly.
How did that feel?
I was kind of surprised with those numbers. I tracked them recently, and I had thought I did a little bit less than that, but overall as a company, we grossed that. Right. Yeah.
And what does your company look like? It's you and who else?
Right now, it's me. We have 6 cold callers.
Oh, yeah.
We have 2 lead managers that we're training, and I have my fiance that is my assistant and my property manager, and she's working on being the transaction coordinator.
Awesome. Awesome. And your cold callers, are they in town, or are they you hired them virtually?
Virtually.
Okay, got it. And are they what's your budget for that? What does it cost to have 6 cold callers in your business?
They cost about $7,000 per month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are they like $10 an hour, $8 an hour, $20 an hour? What do you pay?
$6 an hour.
Okay.
And they work 9-hour days.
Okay.
5 days a week.
How'd you find them?
Through a recent mastermind that I attended.
Awesome.
In December.
Is it a resource? Are you just pulling it?
No, it's a company.
It is.
It's a company.
What's the company's name?
Call for Real Estate Investors.
That's call for real estate. Well, that's makes it easy to remember. That's awesome. Your 2 lead managers, what do they do?
So right now I'm working.
Or what are you training them to do?
So right now I'm giving them constant training, like Closers Olympics, other like trainings that are geared for wholesaling, sales, John Martinez, all that stuff.
Sure.
And then we have meetings, and I have them go through leads and Podio.
Yeah.
And I kind of like back them up on what to say. They have a script.
This is like your acquisition managers?
Well, they're my lead managers.
Okay.
I'm basically like the senior acquisition.
Yep.
So I'm training them to be more of acquisitions. They're not quite there yet, but they will be.
So for anybody that's unfamiliar, an acquisition manager is basically the sales arm of your business. They get the leads coming in, and their job is conversion. Now, whenever you're looking at this business, you got to look at it in 3 parts. Lead generation is number 1. That's the engine. Okay. Second part is conversion. That's where these leads get converted into a signed contract, which gives you the option of the third part, which is exit strategy.
Right.
Which is basically you keep it in your rental portfolio, you flip it, or you assign the deal, which is referred to as wholesaling. Right. So the middle part, that's your acquisition managers. That's your sales team that you're training. Right. You're going to pull yourself out of that because you're going on the appointments now. You're doing lead follow-up now. You're pre-qualifying now. Right. And you want to slowly transition them so that you can start, having more time to think and to, come up with whatever you want to do with the funds that you're making from the business.
Right. Yeah, no, my goal is to make an actual business out of it, because it's been really like a high paying job.
That's it.
Lately,
That's how we start.
Yeah.
We start out and we're self-employed and we're putting in the work. We're trading our time for money. And then at some point we get to the point where we make enough money where we start getting our time back. Right. But what that comes with is putting together an incredible business that can run without you.
Exactly.
I mean, that's it. I mean, if you want to be a CEO working in the business, that's great. But it's even better just being an owner of that business. You know what I mean?
100%.
I mean, that's the goal, and that really frees us up to do incredible things with our time.
Yeah, so like I just joined a different mastermind, and one of the first lessons that I got, there's different stages to a business. You have the hustler stage, the manager stage, the CEO stage, the advisor stage, and then the owner stage.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
I've been in the hustle stage, so now I'm trying to get into the manager stage so that I can then get to the CEO stage.
That's right. But I think it's so important, and I think a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people want to try to jump into those higher seats before they earn it. Right. Before they are those people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you have to have this path. That's the path. If you start skipping around, that's when you have inconsistency and that's when business fails.
Right.
But if you do that hustler and then you get into the management and then you get into CEO and then you get into advisor and then you get into owner, that's the path.
There's levels to this.
And by the way, I think people should enjoy every part of that process.
100%.
How good do you feel knowing that you were out there knocking on doors, making calls, talking to random people at mobile home parks, and growing your business in that hustle season? I mean, you look back on it. I look back on it fondly. I made calls for years. I look back and I was like, yes, I did that.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't be here if I hadn't done that.
That's it.
You can't skip with anything in life. Yep. You know what I mean? You can't skip it. Even if you go to the gym or something, you're not gonna get all pumped up one day.
That's it.
You gotta work out.
That's it.
Yeah,
it's got to be consistent.
Right.
Well, let's break down a deal. Everybody loves when I put you in the hot seat and we break down a deal and we figure out how you found it and what was going on with that seller. So, do you have an exciting deal you want to break down?
Yeah. So, one that just recently, just kind of changed my mindset about doing these deals is one that we just closed on about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And this one came from a driving for dollars list.
Okay.
So that's like bread and butter right there.
Yep.
And it came from a cold call.
Yep.
And he had said we had marketed to this lead. We made contact with him back in November, and he said that it was an escrow for $270.
Okay.
And so it was just kind of like a follow up game after that. Let us know if it falls out or whatever.
So wait, you follow up with leads even if they have a signed contract with somebody else?
100%.
Because what happens? What could happen?
It might fall out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happened?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this guy, we ended up calling him, and he had already gone through the process like 2 times with a different wholesaler or whatever, And so he said he wanted 270. Well, I started running comps on this thing. ARV was I think it was 440 or something like that, So I said, there's a pretty big spread in here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty big spread. So then I kept following up with him, and I told him, hey, listen, we'll make this happen for you,
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of dazed from these last other folks, they called me just like you. They said they can make it happen. And they didn't make it happen, They said that their partners weren't going to buy it and so forth. And I said, listen, we're not going to do that to you. We're professional house buyers.
Yep.
I'll make sure that we buy it, So he kind of talked to his wife, and then it took a couple phone calls, it didn't happen right away. I had to call him back. And then finally, He's like, well, all right, you know what? I guess I'll give you an opportunity. My wife didn't want me to do it because she's kind of dazed from these last guys, but you keep calling me, so so you must want it.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
So we put it under contract, and
At 270 again?
yeah.
And why did the other ones fall out? If it's 270, 440, I mean, this feels like a no-brainer. It feels like a really easy deal. Do you think it was just people that didn't know what they were doing, or?
I don't think they knew what they were doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
They were probably getting started, like we all do. I mean, everybody gets started somehow.
That's right.
But I think they weren't that confident.
Yep.
So we put it under contract for 270 also. And I have this guy that helps me dispo some of my deals. So I told him to help me dispo it. And I had these sellers send me pictures.
Yeah.
So I was over here thinking that I had to go walk the property, So I said, send me the pictures that you got. So he sent me the pictures, and we put it out. We sent it to all the buyers. And within like a week, we got an offer. It was for $315.
Okay.
$315.
Yeah.
And the pictures were fine, sight unseen. So I never even walked this property myself, So
Did you even meet the seller?
I didn't even meet the seller.
You're telling me you don't have to meet sellers. You don't have to go to the property. You don't have to get a contractor's bid. You don't have to do all these things, and you can sell properties?
100%.
And people will buy them.
100%.
Listen, everybody listening to this, every day of the week, hundreds of times a day, this happens throughout the country. Listen to Omar here.
Right.
This is real life. He never went there. He only talked to him on the phone. I'm telling you, 90% of this business is how good you are on this little cell phone device. That's it, right?
Right.
I mean, it's really your ability to communicate. You communicated that they could trust you to get the job done.
100%.
Right?
100%. Yeah.
And they sent you the pictures themselves.
Yep.
You sent it to your buyer base. They didn't even want to see it, and they bought it.
Yeah.
Did they close at 315?
Yeah, they closed it at 315.
And you made?
I made 30 because I gave 15 to the guy that helped me dispo it.
Awesome. Here
Yeah.
we go. 45,000 total. Ring that. You better ring it harder than that. There we go.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
45,000, 30,000. That one deal matched what you were making a few years ago in your landscaping business.
That's what I used to make in an entire year, $30,000.
And how many phone calls do you think it was total? Just estimate. Follow up from initial contact to follow up to communicating during the process, the escrow, to getting it closed.
Call it 20.
20 calls.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So let's just call it, I don't know, $1,200 a call.
Right.
But more than that, you split $15,000 with the other guy.
Right.
So you're talking $2,000. You got paid every time you picked up the phone.
Exactly.
I think like that. I really do.
Right.
I think in terms of that, because it really gets me excited that we have so much leverage in our life at this point. At this point in business, in this point with technology, in this point with our country, we can pick up the phone and we can make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $10,000 every time we do it.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing right here is that confidence, instilling that confidence.
That's it.
You're going to work your way up to that point.
Yep.
You got to work your way up to the point where you tell him, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm going to make this happen for you.
Yep.
If you know that the numbers are good, you can lock up these deals anywhere in the nation.
Yep.
And your buyers know their buy box also. So they bought it sight unseen.
It's great.
And it worked out all the way. I never had to walk the property. Matter of fact, the seller never even went to escrow. All the package, the papers, they went directly to a notary. Yeah, mobile notary. And it happened without him even going to he was in Arizona and the property's in California.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. I'm telling you, what a story. I mean, what an example that is to everybody out there that's listening that thinks that they have to know everything and get stuck in the education loop and paralysis by analysis. And the 3 Ps, right? Perfectionism, procrastination, and paralysis by analysis attacks a lot of people. And you're sitting here with a great example. You're being a great example of just take the action.
Just take it.
Just take the action and surround yourself with people that are taking the action. You can't lose.
Right.
You can't lose.
You can't.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So what is your big goal? What are you going to do with this business? Is it a big portfolio? Are you going to be developing? Do you want to be the bank at some point? What is it?
So right now on my mind is making a real business out of wholesaling.
Yes.
Yeah, because I started off buying rentals at first.
Yep.
And so we own 12 units, and that's cool and all. But when I was doing that, I didn't have no real income coming in from the business,
Right.
because I do this full time. I don't have a job,
Yeah.
So my goal for the next 12, 24 months is actually creating a business with a team
Yep.
that can operate on its own.
Love it.
Once I start generating heavy cash flow from that,
Yeah.
then I'll go back into buying investments, because I already know.
Focus.
Yeah, focus.
Focus.
I already know what it's like to buy investments. I already know what it is to own rental properties. So that's easy for me.
Yep.
But being a business owner is something that I'm seeking that probably not everybody accomplishes. You can be self-employed, high-paying job.
Yep.
But having a real business that can operate on its own,
Yep.
that's what I'm seeking.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. How can people reach out to you? There's going to be plenty of people that want to say congratulations, or maybe they live in the same area. They want to squat up with you. They're inspired. You're going to inspire a lot of people, I think, with your story. So how do people reach out?
They can reach out on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, it's at _Omar Lopez. Or on Facebook, just look me up as Omar Lopez. You might want to type in Cathedral City or Palm Springs after Omar Lopez, because I know there's more than one. And that's probably how you'll
We'll
find
make
me.
sure to put links to them all.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Omar, congratulations.
Thank you.
And not only that, you've got in the next week,
Yeah, in the next week.
$200K, $200,000 in income closing.
Yeah, I have 3 flips that are closing. They should be closing today, but just call it a week, right?
Sure.
That's going to bring in more than $200K.
So wait a second. You've got 3 flips closing today,
Right.
in Palm Springs,
Right.
and you're sitting here in my office here in
Right.
Phoenix.
Right?
This is the best business ever.
The best
This
business
is
ever.
the best business ever. I love it. I love it. Well, good. Congratulations. Plus, you got another $33K wholesale deal. You're doing the thing, man, and I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been listen, we've worked together a long time, since 2018.
2018.
I mean, it's been a really long time, so I'm just so thrilled of where you're at now and all the work that you've put in. Well deserved.
Thank
really,
you.
truly.
Appreciate you.
That's awesome. And for everybody, just a little bit of housekeeping here. We mentioned driving for dollars a lot in this conversation. DealMachine.com gives the biggest discount for their app. It's the best app there is for driving for dollars. You're simply driving around the neighborhoods looking for the ugliest properties and adding them to your list so that you can reach out and be proactive. DealMachine.com. Use the coupon code TTP. As in talk to people, it's the biggest discount that you get. And if you're interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, if you really value your time and you want to cut out the 3 to 5 year learning curve in this business, check out the TTP coaching program. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. And check out what it's all about. Check out all the incredible people that are having success around the country. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call, and I look forward to working with you personally, just like I am with Omar. So it's absolutely incredible. Thank you for being here. Again, sky's the limit for you. And for everybody out there, I encourage you, as always, to go out and talk to people. Until next time, love you guys. See ya.